Hi, I'm Louise. Today I'm going to be talking about Godzilla X Kong, or as the director says, it's supposed to be called Godzilla Kong. Like the X is supposed to be silent or something. I'm not sure why that is, but that's what he said, so I'm going to try and call it that, but it really looks like Godzilla X Kong. I also just wanted to say thank you everybody for watching my Love Lies Bleeding video. I had no idea that it would do so well. I was like, I'm going to make this review. I don't know if people are going to watch it, but I'm making this for me. And so I'm really glad that people liked it. And I'm definitely going to be doing more in the future. I would have done more reviews sooner, but this month has been crazy and there hasn't been a ton that I've wanted to see. So anyway, that changes in April. There's almost something every week that I'm interested in. So anyway, that being said, okay, I'm going to get along with the review. Just to preface this, I had the chance to watch all of the other, what do they call it, the Monsterverse movies before getting to this one, which was kind of fun. My husband hadn't seen them, and so we were like, well, we might as well watch them. They're all on Max, so they're easy to find. And it was kind of a fun exercise seeing how it's changed from 10 years ago now, when the first Godzilla came out, to now. It seems like tonally, Godzilla and Kong Skull Island are kind of their own thing. And then once we move into Godzilla King of Monsters, it's more, feels sort of similar-y. Like the tones feel the same and they feel like they're all part of the same thing. I don't know. I just feel like the Godzilla and the Kong, even though they are all still part of the same universe or whatever, they feel pretty different to me. So my favorite of these kinds of movies is Pacific Rim, and it was the first one that I saw that I was like, okay, I love these big monster movies. I'm going to watch all of the ones that I can because I think they're so fun. And I still think Pacific Rim is the best of these, where it's kind of like less people focused and more just like, let's see cool monsters fight each other. I mean, who doesn't love that kind of thing? I think tonally, this movie is the most similar to the previous one, Godzilla vs. Kong, which is not a huge surprise because it's the same director. And I don't know, it feels the most like a sequel to me in the rest of these movies. Like all these movies kind of feel like their own thing. And then this one definitely feels like, okay, this is a direct sequel to the last one. And anyway, going to see it, my husband was like, yeah, it's really good that we watched the last movie, because this would make no sense if I hadn't seen the last ones, which makes, anyway, that's makes sense to me. The director, Adam Wingard, directed the last one and this one, and he's the first director in the Monsterverse to have directed 2 movies, and it sounds like if they make another one, he's open to directing that as well. So we'll see how that goes. I think his enthusiasm is really fun. I love how excited he is to be making these. Like, it seems like in all of his interviews, he's just like, is so ready to talk about these guys, which I think is great and makes watching these movies really fun. This is obviously not Godzilla minus one. A lot of people have been comparing it to that because we just saw an amazing Godzilla movie. It was my favorite movie of 2023. And this is not that. It's not trying to be that. And I think that's fine. I like that we have the variety. It's really cool that in the last 6 months, we've gotten 2 fun movies with Godzilla in it, and they're very, very different from each other. So different. This does not focus on the people really at all. Like, they're maybe 30% of the movie. It's more focused on Kong's story this time. We're kind of following him trying to find other giant monkeys. Is there a name for that? I don't know. Trying to find other giant monkeys like himself. And so the humans are not as big of a part of it, so it's obviously not going to be like Godzilla minus one at all. I think, that being said, this is probably my favorite human cast of all of these movies. I think they jive pretty well. I feel like some of the other ones, the casting was a little misguided, or the direction they took, it was kind of weird. But this one, I feel like they were a pretty cohesive group, and they're not in it very much, and so maybe that's part of why I like them so much. I think having Rebecca Hall come back was a good choice. I do think it's funny that they make a joke in the movie about her drastic change in style. Because I didn't realize it was her until I saw the movie. Like, I'd seen the trailers and I didn't realize it was the same lady until the movie started, and I was like, oh, that is the same woman of the movie I just saw. And then Kaylee Hoddle, I think is how you say her name. Kaylee Hoddle. I don't know how you say her name, but she was really great in the last one, so I'm glad that she's back in this. And I didn't know this until I started doing a little bit of research for this video, but she's also deaf in real life, which is kind of cool, I think. And I love her connection with Kong. I think that's really interesting. So I'm glad that they made a return in this one. So I think that was a good choice. I think Brian Tyree's character in the last movie was kind of a lot, and he's still kind of a lot in this one. And so when I saw him in the movie, I was kind of like, oh, I guess we're getting this like high intensity guy back. But as soon as he was paired with Dan Stevens, I was like, oh, I see this. They're so fun together. Like, they're hardly in the movie at all. But I think he and Dan Stevens are hilarious together because they're kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum, where you have Dan Stevens' character who's like very excited, and then Brian Tyree's character who's also really excited but like nervous, like, and a little more apprehensive, which I think is interesting. So anyway, them paired together is very fun. And I've always been a Dan Stevens fan since Downton Abbey, so it was fun to see him in this. And his character's just really funny and feels a little different than his type, which is kind of fun. So that was fun to see him doing that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find any footage for this, but Rachel House shows up in this movie. I love her. She's in Hunt for the Wilder People, which is one of my favorite movies ever. So it's really fun to see her in this, even if she's not in it very much. I'd be happy to see her in more big action movies like this because she's just fun. I really like her. Moving along from the casting, I think that the visuals in this movie by far are my favorite of any of the Monsterverse movies. I love the neon. I love all the pretty crystals that you see throughout the movie. That's why I got my crystal earrings on. And I love the kind of 80s cartoon influence. I feel like the way that Kong and Godzilla look at the end of the movie, where Godzilla's all pink and Kong's got his like big artificial fist, were like meant to be made into toys. As soon as the movie was over, I'm not even kidding, I started looking up toys for this movie because I was like, I bet they have some good toys. I haven't found anything that I want to get yet, but anyway, I just love the style of this movie, and I love that Godzilla's pink. Like, how fun is that? I do wish Godzilla was in the movie more, but I think the focusing on Kong makes sense because he's the most like human looking and is easier to communicate emotion with because, he's a giant monkey, and so it's easier to tell what he's thinking than a giant dinosaur, basically. And I'm going to be getting into some spoiler territory, but really nothing I'm talking about isn't already spoiled by like the trailer and then like just Twitter in general. There's been a ton of stuff. But I just want to warn you, if you want to go into this blind, just skip to this point and you'll be good. I think having the ape as the villain was an interesting choice. I feel like he was set up to be way scarier than he ended up being, and it makes me kind of sad. Because he has a cool design, an interesting backstory, but then you only see him like 2 times after that. And then he doesn't come off as super scary, because Kong loses to him once, and that's, kind of scary. But then you never see him again. Like, I kind of wish there was more time with him. And I don't know how they would have done that with the way that they structured the movie, but I was a little disappointed in the villain this time. I think his design was really cool, and I loved Shimu, the ice Godzilla. I thought that she was just so pretty and like just a fun personality. Like, you could tell that her personality was different than Godzilla's. I feel like they did a good job of showing that. And I hope that she's in more stuff because she's just so fun looking. And I'd love to see her be on the good guys team since she was kind of stuck being on the bad guys team. Anyway, I really liked her. I think the ending battle scene was easily the best. I liked that it was broken up basically into three parts. You had like your Kong trying to get Godzilla to join the fight, and then you have the stuff in Hollow Earth, and then you move into Rio. And I think they were all fun because they were all different. The fight between Godzilla and Kong when they're like first meeting up is hilarious because Kong's trying to like communicate with Godzilla, but Godzilla just doesn't care. And watching that whole thing is just hilarious. It's so funny. And then Mothra was a fun surprise as well. I'm kind of sad how Mothra just was only in one movie, but now Mothra's back somehow and looks a little different, but that's okay. Yeah, I think the ending was definitely the best part. And I am curious to see if they make more of these. It seems like that's very, very possible because this one's doing like really, really well. So we'll see where they go from here. And all in all, I think this was a fun watch. It's definitely not Godzilla -1, but it wasn't trying to be. It feels to me like it's almost exactly like it's advertised. So if you think it looks good, then go see it. If you're like, that doesn't appeal to me, then you're probably right. So I also need a pink Godzilla toy as soon as possible. I haven't found one I love yet, but I will be getting one, I'm sure. And thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be doing more of these reviews, especially now that we're kind of out of the movie slump of February, January. March was okay, but I was busy. So anyway, yeah. So thank you so much for watching.